Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to BallinCraig Estate. Trevor is finishing up. He's done the feeding, milking of the cows. Otherwise, it's been pretty quiet on the farm this morning. Last night was a strange event as the lawyer basically showed up and told the young man that he wouldn't be getting the insurance money for the house, and because the farm is damaged, he would now not qualify for his uncle's inheritance of being able to continue to run the farm after the first year. Trevor is still shaking his head and feeling angry about the whole thing. He told the young man never to trust people in suits, but what can you do? Last night the young man took off in the new Massey Ferguson with the bale wrapper that Henry and Thomas had lent them to help them out, but Trevor sees that he's back this morning. He went to bed after a while and some fitful sleep, and it was time to get up and sort out the cows, but up in the distance you can see a lot of wrapped bales. Better see what's going on, he thinks to himself, and knocks up and knocks politely on the door, steps back and waits for a moment. It's Helen that comes out. Oh, hi Trevor, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, lassie. How is he doing? He seemed pretty upset last night.
Yeah, I don't know, he took off in the tractor and he didn't come home till, like, in the middle of the night. I don't know, I think he just went on baling and wrapping pretty much through the night, and then, well, he hasn't gone to sleep. He's in the office and he's peering over all the paper, and he asked me to tell you that he was going to be busy today and if you could help out.
Trevor sprouts. But yep, of course I'm going to help out, but Henry and Thomas are coming today. We need to get the bales sorted. He can't just sit in there in the office and look at papers.
Look, says Helen, I know it's a bit much right now, but to be honest, I think it might be better if we just leave him for a little bit and maybe give him a chance to. I think it was quite a big shock.
Trevor calms down a little bit. I suppose you're right, but I don't like this.
At that point, Helen and Trevor's conversation is interrupted by the sound of an approaching engine as the Manitou telehandler pulls up and turns in towards them. Henry jumps out.
Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing on this fine morning? It's looking pretty good for now, but they are talking about rain later.
He takes a moment to study their faces. Oh, did we come at a bad time? Helen looks over at Henry. Henry, no, it's so good to see you. It's just that the young man got some pretty bad news about maybe not being able to hang on to the farm anymore, Helen says.
Oh, I truly am sorry to hear that. You sure there's nothing we can do to help?
Trevor a bit brusquely turns around as well.
Well, tell you what, Henry. The best thing we can do to help out right now is to make sure we get all the bales and the grass sorted today.
Henry nods.
Aye, okay. Well, I sent Thomas straight up to the field because he'll need to be running a couple of loads home, but I was thinking if we go up and get a load up for him first, then I can come down with the telehandler and help shift the ones that needs to go to the farm here. Aye, that sounds like a pretty good plan, says Trevor. Do you need our help just now? I'll get a bale trailer hooked up for when we're back down here, but I guess you're handling stuff up there right now.
Yes, I'll be able to help in just a little bit as well. The young man is maybe taking a little bit of a break today. It was a lot to get over.
Oh, sure, says Trevor.
Well, what
What's he doing? He's not sitting around moping in the house, is he?
That's exactly what he's doing, growls Trevor.
Helen strikes a bit more conciliatory tone. Now, boys, look, I have a plan to get him out of the house, okay? There's a few things I need to talk to him about, and then I'll come and help you, but let's just assume that the young man is kind of not helping a lot today. He might be back later on, but I'm going to ask him to head out for a bit. Okay, says Henry. Well, I hope I don't feel like the bearer of bad news or anything, but we'll get cracking up in the field, and I'll come down and help. It shouldn't take too long to get the first load on. Henry jumps in and frankly seems a little bit relieved to be away from that slightly difficult conversation. He is a bit shocked. He was not expecting this to be happening. Last time he saw the young man, things were going pretty well, and he was seeming determined to keep on farming. So things have certainly taken a turn in the meantime. Meanwhile, back down on the farm, Trevor seems to have come down.
I'm sorry if I sound very angry. It's because I am. I'm angry, but not at the young man. I'm angry about the whole situation.
Oh, so am I, said Helen. That snake of a counsellor. I hadn't realized that he would play such a cunning game. I really don't like that man, she says. But look, let me talk to the young man, and you don't mind, just give me a call when you need a hand.
Yeah, of course, says Trevor. I'll get up and sort out the bale trailer.
And Trevor heads off with long, angry strides. It's difficult when you don't have anybody sort of in the vicinity that you can be angry at, and Trevor does kind of have a bit of a temper. He just wished the whole thing would sort itself out. All this paperwork and other things is not really to his liking, but he needs to get the bale trailer sorted out so that some of these bales can get back down into the shed here. But actually, what he realized he probably needs to do first is to try and shift the silage that's inside the silage clamp over to one side, because then they can use the rest of the space to put the bales up. So you better get into the bobcat actually and try and get that done first of all. It's not exactly a massive shovel on the bobcat, and it's pretty bumpy riding around, trying to push the silage further into the back. Trevor realizes that this is actually going to take a while, but it should be worth it in the end. As Trevor sets to work, Henry is also coming up to the top field, and he pauses for a moment. He can see Thomas is out, kind of looking around the field as well, slightly bewildered. And Henry stops to step over to Thomas. Thomas, he says. Yeah, Dad. It was just yesterday that you brought down the wrapper, was it not? Yeah, I know, he says, looking around. You seen the other fields done as well? Well, they must have worked all the way through the night. Yeah, says Thomas, that's pretty wild. I mean, I did tell them there was no rush, that we'd be fine for time and we'd be down and help today. Henry explains to Thomas a little bit about what had happened last night when the solicitor came and told the young man about the not getting the insurance, and because the farm was damaged, he would not get the inheritance anymore. That's outrageous, says Thomas, but surely, I mean, have they talked to a lawyer? Oh, I don't know, says Henry, but it all sounds like a bit of a mess. But look, I think the best thing we can do is carry on working and give them a hand as much as we can. He better get on with it. So many bales in these 2 fields, far more than he had expected to be ready. He thought he was going to be coming down and they were just going to be having a few ready and a few more that would need to get done this morning. So now there's no excuse. He just needs to be getting on with it instead. It takes a good hour and a half of scraping and pushing, but eventually Trevor has got all the silage pushed right up to the back of the clamp. His idea is that they'll then be able to move the wrap bales in here and stack them along the side, and that'll make it still accessible down here on the farm. He's not too keen on the idea of having the silage bales moved all the way up to the other yard. There's already plenty of hay up there and straw that can be brought down during the winter, but they have plenty of round bales still lying pretty higgledy-piggledy in here. But it'll be good to get the silage sorted out down here. So he reckons that maybe Thomas and Henry is getting... They should be more or less finished with the load up in the field as well. As far as I recall, they got a pretty big round bale trailer, so it will take a while to get it all sorted out. But you better get the Massey fired up. Just leave it to warm up for a bit, and check hoses on and everything like that for the trailer. They obviously can't fit as many round bales on this, but having the telehandler with the grab on means that they can at least avoid puncturing the bales as they're getting on. But he's got to move the front loader as well, just to get a bit of space here. Up in the field, Henry is just putting the last bale on, and he's looking around because there's still bales around right behind him here. He thought that these 2 fields would all have been able to fit on a single load going up to the farm, but there's actually still quite a few bales around. So Thomas is definitely going to have to do another load, because there's a cluster over there and there's some more down here. So yeah, they're actually getting a really good yield, far better than what Henry thought. So he hops up to speak to Thomas. So I'll take these bales up to the farm, he says. It's going to take a while, obviously, to come all the way back. Yeah, says Henry, but that's okay. That means I can help Trevor and Helen in the meantime, and hopefully maybe we'll see a bit of the young man at some point. In the meantime, Thomas has got to navigate this rather large trailer out of here and down these narrow roads. Now, it's not that he's not used to some tight navigation around their own farm, but obviously these roads are new to him, and he wants to make sure he takes it carefully. He doesn't want to damage any of the fences or gates around here, but it's a pretty tight fit. It's a good thing they do have this dolly trailer that can turn fairly sharply down these narrow roads. A rigid axle one would have struggled getting out of there, but he gets himself underway. It's just one more little gate to get through, and then he should be fine. Henry isn't far behind in the telehandler. He's eager to get down and lend a hand. He feels a bit
concerned about what's been going on the farm, but he also knows that after all, it is the young man's business and he doesn't know all the details, but he feels sorry for all this trouble that's been happening on the farm. It can't have been an easy year for the young man, he thinks to himself. Henry doesn't even wait. He knows Trevor's about, but these bales are so close by that it seems easier to just lift them and take them straight over. He just decides to stop here and better check with Trevor exactly where he wants them. Trevor's just seen Henry come whizzing past in the telehandler and is catching up with the bale trailer, but he smiles broadly as he sees that Henry's there. "Ah, Henry, you've read my mind," he shouts. Just put them in on the side by the bale, by the silage over here at the back." Henry looks down and nods at Trevor. He's just got to make sure that he's a bit tight around here. He doesn't want to hit any of the farm's rather old and delicate equipment around, but he reckons he can get right in here and drop them off. Helen is working in the kitchen, just trying to clean up after breakfast and to keep her head clear when the young man comes out of the office holding a bunch of papers, and he looks at her and says, I don't know, I can't figure this out, he says, but I think I might have an idea. "Really?" says Helen. "That sounds good. I mean, I think you need some rest. No, says the young man. I don't need rest right now. This is too important." Helen puts her hand on his arm. "I know," she says, "but are you thinking clearly? You've been under a lot of stress." "I don't know," says the young man. I need to clear my head a little bit, and then I need to read over this again, but I think I might have found a solution." Helen smiles. "Well," she says, "there was something I wanted to talk to you about. I was going to wait till we had all the baling done, but to be honest, I think you need a break from the farm right now, and I've got a favor to ask you." The young man puts the papers down and says, "Okay," he says. Well, what's the favor?" "Well," says Helen, I have a friend that's a journalist at a farming magazine. I spoke to him a little while back, and he was looking for young farmers from around the area to write an article about, just describing the life on a farm." The young man nods. "Okay," he says, "but do you really think I'm a particularly good story right now?" "Well, you don't need to tell him everything," says Helen. Just talk about what it's like to run a farm. You don't have to necessarily tell him everything about what's going on. That's really up to you." The young man scratches his head. It's like, "Well, I really should be out helping with it." "Look," says Helen, "Trevor's got it. Henry and Thomas are here. It's all going fine. I'm gonna go out and help. Once you head off, go for this nice lunch. He's a really nice guy, and you might get to be in a magazine. Now just get going. It's a little while. Here's the address for the pub where you're gonna meet him. I'm sure he'll buy you lunch." "I can buy my own lunch," says the young man, a little bit obstinate. Helen steps out as the young man climbs into the car and says, "Okay, look, enjoy a little break and have a think, and then we can come back and we can look at those papers together." The young man smiles and waves as he backs out he feels a bit odd about sort of almost running away from the farm right now, but Helen is right. He just needs to clear his head and, well, okay, he's pretty tired, but he can do this. He can go and give an interview. He doesn't really know what that means, and he doesn't really know why anybody would be that interested in him, but nonetheless, it'll be a welcome break from everything that's just going on in this place right now, he thinks to himself. And there's a plan that's forming in his head. Helen draws a bit of a sigh of relief as the young man heads off. It's like she's convinced that he needs some time off from what's been going on at the farm. Instead, she needs to try and get up and get the header for the mower shifted, because there are a couple of more fields that still needs to be cut, and she's hoping that they might be able to get some of that grass baled and wrapped as well. But that's only going to happen if she can actually try and get that grass cut. She's not too familiar with that Massey Ferguson machine. She's heard the young man talk a lot about it, and she's gonna give it a try, because that's what you do to help out a friend, or even a boyfriend. It doesn't take Helen long to get the old mower moved across. It was a little bit tight at some of the gates, but she took the cautious route and went down the main route and down the main road instead of trying to weave her way up through the fields. And it seemed to have been paying off, because she's making really good headway. Over in the other field, Trevor has noticed that she's doing the cutting while the young man's away, and he's unhooking his trailer, letting Henry get on with loading some bales onto it, but he's going to come over and do a bit of baling as well. Trevor waves over at Helen, who is working at a furious pace. He's feeling like he's going to be struggling to keep up, but he's feeling the same level of determination. Right now, the young man needs their help, everybody's help, whether it counts or not. At the end of the day, there'll be some satisfaction in it for everybody to get these fields completed, and not to have given up completely on the farm. Helen has finished cutting the field, and Trevor is just putting some more netting onto the baler as Helen is heading down. Although the next field is through a narrow set of gates right at the top of this field, the header on the old swatter here is too wide, so it still needs to go back onto the trailer through the set of gates, and then it can get mounted up again. This bit she struggles a bit with. The pins are pretty hard to pull from this thing, but she did manage before, and I'm sure she can manage again.
just as Helen is working the pins really hard, Mike the mechanic comes climbing over the fence. He's parked right outside, and he comes over to Helen. "Do you need a hand?" he shouts. Helen looks over at Mike. "Mike, how? Oh, hi. Well, what are you doing?" "I'm just trying to get these pins through. We're trying to get work done. I don't know if you've heard what's happened." Mike looks seriously at Helen. Yeah, we heard. That's why I've come to lend a hand. Look, I'm not always sort of, I guess I was a bit jealous of the young man. But, yeah, I heard what happened, and I reckon the least we can do is give him a hand to make sure he gets his silage in the house so he doesn't have to worry about that bit. "Mike, I really appreciate that," says Helen. That is amazing. It's good to know." Mike grins. "Oh, well, there was somebody else who actually came to see me that kind of also insisted on helping out. I better go and open the gate for him and move the car a bit." Helen looks confused over at Mike and the tractor that seems to be moving up. "What's going on?" she shouts. And another tractor rolls into the field at sort of a fairly steady pace. Helen looks up with wide eyes. "Dad?" The vicar jumps out of Mike's tractor. "Helen," he says. "Dad?" she says. You're all kitted out in work. Are you not supposed to be over at the church? Running the bingo club?" He smiles at his daughter. "Today, I'm helping out a young man here in the area. We heard that he could use an extra hand and perhaps an extra tractor to help cart a few things, so I suggested to Mike that perhaps now was the time to show our friendship." Helen hugs her dad. "You don't know how much that means right now," she says. "But yes, there's plenty. I mean, you don't know much about farming." "Excuse me, young lady. I've driven a tractor before. I'm sure I can pull a trailer, while some of these guys who perhaps know a little bit more than me will take care of some of the other details. Now, let's get on with it. Don't dilly-dally." The vicar climbs into the hurleyman and heads up the field. Helen looks up the hill a little amazed. "Did you put him up to this?" she shouts at Mike. Mike shakes his head. "Oh, no, it's the other way around, Helen. I definitely agreed to come and lend a hand, but no, it was all him." Helen smiles. "Well, I'll get on with the cutting, but could you talk to Henry over in the other field? I'm pretty sure he could use the spare tractor, and maybe he would even let you run the wrapper, so we can really get things moving." Trevor's standing in the field looking a little bit confused, seeing a small procession of machinery going on. "Oh, that looks like Mike. Well, I hope all the tractors are okay. This one's running. I gotta get on with things." Mike pulls up next to where Henry is working. Henry hops up. Henry knows Mike from a few jobs he's done up at their farm as well. "Oh, Mike! It's good to see you. What brings you here?" "Oh, Henry. The same as you, I think. Helping out a friend." And he looks up the hill towards where the vicar is navigating the tractor. "I brought some help, an extra tractor. I think you could use it over on the trailer there." "That'd be fine," he says. Did you bring a driver as well?" "I did," says Mike. "But go a bit easy on him. It's the town vicar." Henry raises his eyebrow. "Oh, the vicar's come to help. Oh, the young man sure do have friends in many places," he laughs. And so before we know it, we got a small army of people working here on BallinCraig Estate, all with one determination on their mind, which is to help out their friend, the young man, while he's going through a rather difficult time.
It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon as the young man is returning home. He met with the journalist at a pub and had lunch, and they talked, and although the young man has never really tried being interviewed before, he thought it was quite nice. The guy seemed genuinely interested in what he'd been doing on BallinCraig. Oh, rapping down... But the young man scratches his head a bit as he drive up towards the farm. That's strange. That field wasn't even cut this morning. And you can see... Well, this one's empty. I guess Henry did say he was going to help out a bit in between when him and Thomas was getting their stuff, but I don't understand why have they started cutting the other one, he says. And who's doing this? I mean, there was plenty to be getting on with still, but I don't know. So as the young man pulls up into the farm and is about to pull into the parking lot, he almost hits the church minibus. Helen is standing smiling at him, and he looks around a bit confused. There's the header trailer sitting in the yard. "Oh, what's going on?" says the young man, looking at Helen. Helen smiles at the young man. "Well, I confess, I called in a little help." She smiles. "But, well, from the church?" he says, confused. "Well," giggles Helen, "actually, no, the church was the bingo club. They got very upset when they found out that bingo was cancelled this afternoon, so they insisted that they wanted to come and make tea and scones for everybody." The young man looks even more confused. "What? Tea? Scones? Everybody? Who's here?" "Well," says Helen, you got Trevor, he's bailing. You got Henry, and my dad, the vicar. Well, they're stacking bales on the trailer. I think Thomas is on his way back now, and, well, Mike the mechanic came up, and, well, he's running the wrapper down the other field." The young man almost just opens his mouth, but nothing really comes out. "But who cut all the grass?" "I did, silly," says Helen. "Well, you think I couldn't manage that?" No, that's not what I meant," he said, "but, this, I don't know. Oh man, this is quite a change. Well, I thought it was important for you to be reminded that even when things look bleak, you always have friends that you can count on." And just as Helen says that, another one of the friends, Rollin. Thomas is back, but obviously he can't really get that far right now. The young man waves at Thomas briefly and says, "I can't believe you did all this," says the young man, but you know what's happening with the farm." Helen looks at him seriously. "Well, we don't know that yet," says Helen. "And under all circumstances, I knew it would be important for you to get this silage completed. Know that you've seen it through, no matter what else happens." The young man swallows. His eyes are actually welling up a little bit. He's so touched by all the people who have come to help. "Thank you," he says. "Thank you so much. I mean, so much has happened. Well, let's get everybody down for tea and scones at least," he grins as he heads into the house to greet the bingo club, who is now more or less taking over his kitchen and are arranging lots of tasty treats. And right enough, down the hill comes the vicar with quite an impressive load of bales, considering he doesn't drive a tractor that often. Thomas looks a little bit concerned as he seems to be picking up speed down the hill, but he seems to slow down at the right time and get the tractor turned so he can reverse in. And right behind comes Henry. Thomas half runs up towards his dad as the telehandler comes to a stop in front. Henry hops up.
Ah, Thomas, you're back.
Puts a hand on Thomas's shoulder.
Did you get it sorted?
Thomas nods. I did, yeah. Yeah, we're okay. I got it here.
Ah, good lad. Good lad. Anyway, I gather we're due for a cup of tea and some scones.
Yeah, I promised Helen I would head up and make sure everybody knew.
Ah, good lad, good lad. I think I'll just move the machine here a bit and then I'll get over and see if there's anything tasty.
Thomas heads further up into the field. He's seen a little bit of BallinCraig, but he's come to appreciate how picturesque it is and how nice it is, and what nice lush grass it is that actually grows on the farm, and how many bales are being produced here. He nods to himself, yeah, this should definitely keep the cattle going for quite some time. Trevor's making good headway on the last field when he see Thomas standing in the field. So inside he better just hold up for a second, and he waves at Thomas.
Hey, Thomas! I hope you got the load back to the farm okay.
Yeah, no problem, says Thomas. Helen tells me there's tea and scones. Apparently you've been besieged by a bingo club who insists on making food for you.
Well, to be honest, I'm getting a bit peckish, says Trevor. That actually sounds pretty good. I'm just gonna stop the tractor and I'll head down. We gotta remind Mike, he's down on the other field, wrapping up. Get it? Wrapping up?
Trevor laughs to himself. It isn't long before everybody's gathered back down on the farm and has been equipped with far more food and far more tea than any reasonable person would ever expect. The ladies from the bingo club is insisting that everybody should just tuck in, and they're still rather busy in the kitchen because they've also taken control of the oven and everything. The young man is standing quite speechless. He doesn't really know what to say, but he puts his arm on Helen's and says, Thank you so much for organising this. But he blushes a little as the vicar looks over at him. Vicar, I very much appreciate your help as well, both you and for giving up bingo this afternoon.
Oh, don't mention it, says the vicar. I know my daughter has grown rather fond of you.
The young man moves on. Thomas, thank you so much for everything that both you and your dad has done. I really appreciate it.
Oh, don't mention it, says Thomas.
We farmers gotta help out each other. Mike, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye on things, but you know what? I so appreciate the help with the round baler this year, and you've done a fantastic job on both rescuing my combine and sorting out the front loader tractor again. I really owe you a huge thank you.
It's alright, says Mike. You seem to be fitting in just fine around here. And Helen, she's a lucky girl.
Oh man, Trevor, I don't know what to say, you know. We're a couple of lucky guys.
Yep, that we are, says Trevor. With friends like these, this place is running pretty smooth all of a sudden, isn't it?
Yeah, says the young man. But you also know that through this whole year, I really would not have stood a chance without your help and guidance.
Oh, don't mention it, laddie. Don't mention it.
And the young man steps over to Henry. Henry, like I said to Thomas, I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for us, lending us machinery, you know, everything. Henry smiles at the young man and winks over at his son.
Hey, that's all right. But I did hear about the spotter bother you were in as well. And, you know, when we talked to you down at the summer fair and we offered to lend you the machinery and everything, and you right away you just gave us 2 field loads of silage bales. You know, that's actually quite a big payment for that little piece of equipment. The young man blushes a little bit at Henry's comment. Well, yeah, I guess I still got a little bit to learn about how to run a business. Aye, well, that's the thing, you see, says Henry. I recognise when I see somebody who's got a future in farming and who might just deserves a little nudge. So you see, Thomas, he didn't take those bales up to our farm. We will take the last bit, you know, just to cover the cost of fuel and all, but these ones we actually sold off for you. We reckon you got plenty around here to feed the cattle anyway. And those bales, if you know the right people, they can bring in a pretty decent price. The young man looks a bit flustered. What do you mean? He says. Well, Trevor explained how they won't give you the insurance money for the old building, and unless you can fix the whole thing, they won't let you keep the farm. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you what to choose, but... He thrusts a check into the young man's hand. This at least gives you a few more options on the table. The young man is completely dumbstruck as he unfolds the check and looks down on the paper. The check is for £27,878. This can't be right, says the young man. There must be some kind of mistake. Oh, no, lad. There's no mistake. Like I said, there's good money in silage. You might want to think about that if you stay on. The young man looks to Henry and over to Thomas. You... He looks at Trevor. Did you know about this? Lad, well, I didn't know how much I was going to bring in, but, you know, Henry aired the idea, and I wasn't going to put it down, you know, just because... You don't know what silage is worth. The young man looks really taken aback. Oh, guys, everybody, I don't know what to say, but thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody relaxes a little bit on a mild autumn day here on BallinCraig Estate. And after a little bit of grumbling, but Helen's insistence, they do all line up so that they will have a photo to remember the day on. And with another picture for the photo book. And although there's still a bit of work left to do on this afternoon here on BallinCraig, the young man has just had a huge boost of help from all of his friends here on BallinCraig Estate. And that is the end of this penultimate episode of the young man's adventures here on BallinCraig Estate. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. Next episode, we will find out what happens towards the end of this season. So do come back if you enjoy, or if you want to see what happens next. But for now, thank you very much from Overcord Gaming, and see you again soon.